than while we were awake. Majority of signups for the buy black market happened while we were asleep. Now, clearly, I don't sleep tight or sleep nothing, so being able to effectively automate the things that are needed in our business, and this isn't even our main business. This is really just an initiative we're doing. But for us to be able to automate that, allow for us to be even more effectively, like imagine, right? We're talking about almost 400 different Black businesses over the course of 2 days. Like, do you realize think about how much information you personally had to submit as one business? Can you imagine us having to figure out how to manually handle that per person every single time it needs to happen? Can you imagine how much time it would take just to ask you those questions, just to send you that email, right? Then to have you answer the rest, and then have to get that payment from you, and then have to send you the email with the instructions about that, or the reminders. If you're signed up as a business vendor, you've got updates as news has come out. Can you imagine us having to, and it's hundreds of you that have signed up to express interest. It's hundreds of you that have signed up to be vendors. So can you imagine us having to type every single name into the email line? First and foremost, I'm gonna tell you, we own private domains, and that's another thing you need. You need a private domain, but we own private domains. If you try to send an email to more than 50 to 100 people, it is not going through. So imagine us trying to type all of those in versus us automating, us being able to have very strategic filters built in, and us hitting exactly who we need when we need every single time. And we can schedule it out. So it can be like, hey, I was thinking this. I'm thinking this at 3:00 in the morning. Obviously, we're not going to send it to you at 3:00 in the morning. Chances of you seeing that email at 3:00 in the morning is slim. Chances of the email it coming to also having other stuff coming to it is super high. So I don't want to send it to you at 3:00 in the morning. You get 20 other emails. It's at the bottom of your email unread list for that day. It never gets looked at. The open percentage for emails is already around about 20% in general. So the last thing I'm gonna want to do is drop it down even further by sending it to you at a time when I know you're not gonna get it. So we schedule them out. Then imagine I needed to hang up a call, stop responding to messages or something like that, just to send out this email to 50, 100 of you at a time. I don't know if you've ever typed email addresses into the email box, but it takes so much time because any little thing can mess it up, and it auto, you know. So it's super important to get those automated methods in place for your business, because when 100 people show up or 500 people show up and 200 of them have been looking for you, you can't afford to talk to every single person and tell every single person what you do, or have every single person DM you. One is going to lead to you feeling some type of way, because every person that doesn't result in an immediate sale, you're going to feel like wasted time. Two, there's only so much time in a day, so your customer service is going to end up becoming trash because it's not realistic to be that hands-on every single moment. And then three, it's going to put you in a predicament where you can only scale as far as you can communicate, it's to as many people as you can communicate to at once, right? And so you have to, so that whole propaganda that has been pitched to the Black community, especially to the Black community from successful Black individuals, that you got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, that you have to start from the bottom and you're here, that it's lonely at the top. Those are all lies. The more successful you get, the more moving pieces and people are involved in the process. The more you have to be able to delegate and effectively learn and implement information. So if anybody has told you it's lonely at the top, I did it all by myself. Um, you gotta pull yourself up by your bootstraps and just work harder and harder and harder. It's a lie, bro. It is a lie in 2021. Can you imagine? If Mark Zuckerberg was out here like that on Facebook, y'all would not be on Facebook. Y'all would hate Instagram. You would not be with it. Like my little Facebook has crashed. I feel like every day this week, at least once when we did these lives, and we're only doing these lives to give you updates, right? So imagine with the huge team they have behind it, I'm still going through that hiccup randomly without explanation. But imagine if it was just him. What? Wait, we wouldn't have nowhere to go. We'd still be using landlines, sending messenger pigeons. No, should why would I? That's really weird. Okay. So yeah, if you guys don't have any questions, you said is it Phil? Where are you located? Is what Phil? I'm sorry, completely overlooked this question. I truly apologize for that. Is what filled? Mm-hmm. What's good, YouTube family? It's good to see you guys. We got a voicemail, Thomas. The business got a voicemail. So yeah. In the event you are, I don't see any questions, so it feels like I'm about to be able to wrap up. But y'all helped me get through my itis, so I appreciate it. um, so I don't see any questions. So I just want to do this reminder because this is also being recorded on YouTube. I want to do this reminder that if you are a business, it is super important for you to take heed to what I'm about to say right now. If you are a business, especially if you are a business that doesn't just do business to business to services, which means if you deal with front facing customers and not machines, right? It is super important, especially if you're preparing for the buy black market. It's super important to remember 80% of sales don't happen right away. 80% of potential customers, of potential sales do not happen immediately. 80% of traffic happens after the facts, right? Like a person ends up needing something, a person ends up remembering you as an option, a person ends up planning for something special. Maybe it's the holidays, maybe it's the summer, maybe it's a birthday, maybe it's the end of the year, or work planning or business event planning or anything. So it's super important. 80% of your business does not happen the first encounter you have with with somebody who may be interested in paying for your product, service, skill. It happens down the line. So it's super important to take heed to people who reflect genuine interest, and we know the difference. It's some dead giveaways of genuine interest and people who are literally just trying to pat you off, you know. And so it's very, very important to prioritize not undermining those engagements, focusing on the immediate gratification. And so I gave an example a couple of, I want to say months ago now, about the fact that, our photographer for this event, in my head, he has been our photographer for an upcoming event for months. He didn't know that. When did we meet him? We met him in like January, right? Or December or something? Like maybe December or January. And he did one photo, and I loved that photo. He took this random photo while we were somewhere. We loved the photo. And so I got in touch with him. And at that time, we didn't need him for anything. But there were a number of things that I already had in my head that I was like, we could use him for in the future. So he was already my immediate contact in my head for certain stuff. And I was excited. When I first seen it, I was like, oh my God, that's so dope. Like, but nothing came from it. Maybe 2-3 months later, I said, hey, we're thinking about doing this. Do you do this? Would you be available? Would you be interested? Run me your rates. Gave me his rates. He said, yeah, blah, blah, you know, and then we didn't talk for another month. And the next time I talked to him, I said, hey, it turns out I'm going to need you for twice as long. Send me your rates. We're ready to lock you in. Now, mind you, if he kind of was standoffish or dismissive after having, we had that initial engagement about that photograph, he would have missed out on way more money by being dismissive of the fact that it didn't result in an immediate profit to him. So it's super important if you are in business to really be able to have the discernment to have quality business engagement and customer service, whether or not it comes with immediate results or return. It's super important to do that, because he could have made like $20 some off that photo and never heard from me again, or he can make hundreds of dollars per event from me. You get what I'm saying? That's powerful. That ends up being that money that makes up for that ends up being the money that compensates for when you aren't posting. That ends up being the money that compensates for when you decide to go on vacation but have something on sale. It doesn't require you being hands-on with it. That ends up being the money that fills in your slow seasons, right? That ends up being the money that when you have no idea where to even look for work or for possible revenue, somebody brings it to your doorstep and lays it at your feet like, hey, we want to pay you this. Are you free? It stops requiring you to have to convince people to appreciate or see the value in your product, because somebody has already taken heed to it and has been waiting for the perfect reason to execute on utilizing your service or product or talent. So that's really important. That's probably top tier important. But then the other part is be ready for what that means for you. Be ready to execute. Be ready to have the infrastructure in place to follow up, right? Can you handle having 100 new customers today? Can you handle 20 new customers today? What would that look like for you? Do you have the necessary system in place to be able to answer those calls, direct those do you have the ability to be able to convert those into sales without having to be available 24 hours a day to answer the call, respond to every voicemail, respond to every message? Right? I'm really excited about our team's customer service and turnaround times, but understand that 80% of the people that signed up for the Buy Black Market did not ever get in contact with us. They just went to the site, they filled out the information, and they were secured. So for every person where that customer service I'm very proud of, it was like there was way more that just got the job done, and it didn't require us to do anything because we put in the work on the front end before it was ever presented to anybody, to be able to cross all our T's, dot all our I's, answer questions before you even thought to ask them. So do you have that infrastructure in place? Because that's going to be super important for you. If 10 people come to your booth, but you're only able to talk to 2 of them, will you have the necessary things that will allow for them to execute on supporting your business if you're the business they came looking for, if you're the service provider or product provider or talent that they were seeking out from attending this, you know? Or are you going to sacrifice the potential customers because you're not ready? If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Somebody said that, and it's true. It's real true. So yeah, no, I don't have any pain in my shoulder. That was very weird. I think my hoodie's just weird. Who knows? But yeah, love you guys to life. If y'all have any questions, definitely leave them in the comments. Y'all can DM us, but it'll probably be a while because from what I hear, there's a lag. You can email us, you can call us. We're happy either way to assist. We are super ecstatic. This is just your final reminder that the Buy Black Market vendor registration for the April 3rd and April 4th um, event closes tomorrow, March 19th. So in the event you wanted to do both days but only signed up for one, this is the time for you to make that change. In the event you wanted to sign up but you have not, this is the time to execute on that. And we will be back one final time tomorrow in preparation for the weekend. Saturday, we will probably be completely out of touch because our free masterclass, the 11 money saving and income generating hacks masterclass, is happening. And we will be focused on that because we prioritize teaching our community and equipping our community with resources and information. So Saturday, that's what that's about. Sunday, we'll be back at it with a finalized vendor list for the Buy Black Market, which we're so stoked about. So have a good night, everybody. Um, it's time to get to work. It's time to execute. Time to level up together.